Hey everyone, welcome back. This is going to be the first informal Ask Me Anything kind of video. A couple days ago in the community section of the page, I asked you guys to come up with questions, anything you might want to know relating to AV, audiophile, home theater, photography topics, whatever, and many of you gave me a lot of really great questions. So I thought, here we go. Let's just see how many we can get through while making it fun and entertaining for both of us. So Christy is actually off camera and she is going to be reading your questions to me, and I will do my best to answer them and hopefully give you guys worthwhile information.
All right, so we're going to start with Kai Wood. He would like to know, what is your personal favorite album of all time?
Ooh. Okay, my personal favorite album of all time. You know, honestly, I'm probably going to spoil this for a future My History in Vinyl by saying this, but my personal favorite album of all time is a tie, but they both come from the same, I guess, what's the word? Not genre, but they come from the same type of studio session. And that is Nirvana Unplugged, which I own on vinyl. First pressing, despite my dog even trying to eat it. He didn't get to the record, but the sleeve is totally jacked. And believe it or not, Alanis Morissette's MTV Unplugged is another personal favorite of mine. Nirvana Unplugged, I actually remember watching that performance when it aired for the very first time, and it wasn't my first exposure to Nirvana, but that's when I realized just like how great that band really was going to be. And I know that it came towards the later part of his life, but Kurt solidified himself as a musical and rock and roll genius at that point. Because of that album. And as for Alanis Morissette's MTV Unplugged, that came out shortly after a supposed former infatuation junkie, and I have been fortunate enough in my career to have written a couple of films, and believe it or not, every film I have ever written, I have written while listening to that album, and that is why it is a personal favorite of mine.
Todd Black would like to know, let's say for some reason you need a new turntable. Ooh. Would you be tempted to buy vintage, you know, for example, maybe one from the 80s, or would you buy new only?
Well, I actually faced this because my vintage turntable died, and that is how I ended up with the U-turn. Yeah, so I guess in a weird way, this channel answers that question. I could have scoured eBay and gotten another vintage turntable, but instead I thought it was probably time to try something new. And I went with U-turn after doing a fair amount of research and wanting something that was simple, affordable, and approachable. Something that I feel that everybody can go out and afford, that has great build quality and a warranty. And so that's why I opted for the U-turn. Now, if I were ever to replace the U-turn, or if I ever found myself wanting another turntable besides the U-turn that I have, I absolutely would only buy maybe one or two other types of tables, and that is another Bang & Olufsen linear tracking turntable. They're my favorite, and I'm a big fan of Bang & Olufsen in general. And second, an old original Techniques 1200 DJ table, direct drive, which I used to have back in college.
Okay, sticking with the vinyl theme right now, M1 Garand Studios, I believe, has a...
Sorry if we're butchering names, by the way.
He or she, I can't say who, would like to know, when buying vinyl, does the source being digital or analog factor into your purchase decision?
So when I buy a record, do I care if the original source material was analog or if it was digital? I know that this is actually kind of a big sticking point for a lot of vinyl enthusiasts or maybe vinyl aficionados. I could give a shit. I could give a shit. And I honestly, it makes me laugh sometimes when first time kind of people to this channel, or maybe even people that are just coming to try and troll our good nature, try and tell me, oh, well, the original pressing, blah, blah. I don't care. I don't care. I don't have the original pressing. I don't have the second pressing. I have the third one, or I have the fourth one. And if you're telling me that the 20th anniversary remastered edition of whatever I just bought was the remastered edition off the CD, fine. I don't care. I don't care. I wanted the music. I wanted the music, and I wanted it on vinyl, and I want to be able to enjoy it like I enjoy all my records. So, yeah, I really don't care. That being said, can I tell the difference? Absolutely. Absolutely. But sometimes I just go with what I can get my hands on. These are good questions.
Switching gears a little bit.
Switching gears.
Scott Peterson would like to know, how do you feel about magnetic tape formats like cassette and reel-to-reel?
Ooh. See, to me, cassette's just cool. I don't want tapes to make a comeback, and I laugh every time I see tapes in like my record stores. But tapes are cool because I remember making albums using tape. I remember like hanging out by radios and with my hand on the play and the record button, because you had to press them at the same time, and waiting for the damn DJ to shut up so that I could hit play and record at the same time, and then finally have like a song, and then I could listen to it forever. It was like, yeah, I know it was probably the first form of piracy, but we all did that. We all did that. And there was nothing more infuriating than a DJ who would not shut the F up and would like literally talk right up to the first phrase of the lyrics. And then you're like, the whole song's just hosed. Like, you're going to have to wait another 4 to 6 hours for this to come back around on the loop and have another DJ play it. And hopefully they don't spoil it by talking over it. That's why tapes are cool to me. Outside of that, I don't want them anywhere near me, but I love the memory. Reel to reel, I have like almost zero experience with reel to reel. There was a reel to reel player inside Emotiva when I worked there years and years and years ago, and we had like 3 whole albums for it. And I remember them sounding very, very good, but damn, that's a lot of work. Wow, that's a lot of effort and work, and just, yeah, it's not for me.
I think they're really cool.
No, they look amazing. Like, as art pieces, like I want one like in the background here that I can plug in and just have blank tape just kind of spool, because visually I think they're amazing. But I would rather own a 35 millimeter film projector, to be honest, than a reel-to-reel tape player. And it's really hard to come by stuff like in good condition.
My only true experience with reel-to-reel was in college at UT. I took a class called The History of Black Music, and it was by far one of my favorite classes, an elective that I took at UT. The professor was just this sort of, well, at the time I probably thought he was old, but he was probably
probably our age,
like 40 or something, but this sort of kooky, cool, way hipper than I ever realized he was. And he had all of these reel-to-reel, like spirituals and...
oh, that sounds cool. See, now, I think if we had content, maybe my opinion would be different, but I think we had like... it was like we had like an opera, and not that there's anything wrong with opera, but yeah, we had like an opera and maybe, oh God, what was that album? I don't remember. It was just that, and it was one of those now our reel to reel that we had was on like one of those roller carts, So it wasn't like a tabletop reel to reel. It was a studio reel to reel. So maybe that's a little bit different.
Yeah, this one was built into the wall,
Okay, that's kind of like the one that's over at Breakaway though,
probably.
which is kind of cool.
But anyway, it was just fascinating to me. I don't think I'd ever really seen a reel to reel up until that point, but
I think they're cool. I do. I wouldn't even know where to begin.
yeah, I wouldn't either. But
I wouldn't even know.
I think if you were doing like a hotel or a bar
Oh yeah.
or some sort of restaurant, I think that it could be such a really interesting, like a design piece.
Oh, as a conversation starter for sure. For sure.
Anyway, people don't care what I think, so.
Yes, they do. We care what she thinks.
Nah.
We do.
All right. Oh, this will be fun. Jesus. Oh man, Jesus. I really don't know how to pronounce your last name, so I'm not.
Okay, that's fair.
But Jesus would like to know, what's your favorite movie of all time? And, this is 2 questions.
Okay.
So, what's your favorite movie of all time? And is there something as too many records?
Ah. Okay. Favorite movie of all time. Double Indemnity. Barbara Stanwyck.
What?
What did you think it was?
Honestly, I didn't know. I don't think I knew.
Double Indemnity. Favorite movie of all time.
Really?
Film noir. Edward G. Robinson, Fred McMurray, and Barbara Stanwyck. It is one of the great femme fatale stories. And the writing in it is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. There's a scene where Fred McMurray's character and Barbara Stanwyck's character are meeting. He plays an insurance salesman, and he's trying to sell Barbara Stanwyck's character a life insurance policy, and she starts asking some very interesting questions about a life insurance policy on her husband. And the entire story is kind of the quintessential femme fatale movie. And that scene where she's hinting at what she wants to do from Fred McMurray, who at that point has not been poisoned by the forbidden fruit, that is Barbara Stanwyck, is just awesome. It's like a whole conversation about speed limits and traffic safety, yet they're talking about murdering her husband. And they just don't write dialogue like that anymore. And the cinematography is amazing. Edward G. Robinson is a personal favorite actor of mine, and he is a supporting role in this, but it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Who's the cinematographer?
I don't know. That's
really bad of you.
Yeah, so that is my favorite movie of all time.
I've never seen it.
I know we have. I know, and I think I've even tried to play it once or twice. I pulled it up on the movie server and shown you, and I think we've gotten like kind of ready, and then you have like fallen asleep on the couch.
No.
Yeah. But no, that is my favorite movie of all time. And I've thought about that a lot over the years. Like I've fluctuated where it's like, do I really, is Giant up there? Is it Double Indemnity? And I just have to go with the OG.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And the secondary question was, can you have too many records?
Yeah, I mean, if you can't store them all, then for sure. If it's like a hoarder situation, then absolutely, there's too many records. I see some of these videos on YouTube, and I see like the magazine articles where, people have, 100,000 records. I don't know what I would do with that. I really don't. At a certain point, you can only listen to so much, and the last thing that I want to do is have to go dig in my own house, because you're like, oh, that song, like I have a random hair up my butt to listen to Tubular Bells. I don't want to have to remember where I filed it. So I guess I would like to say no, but the OCD in me would definitely probably say, yeah, maybe you can have too many.
Okay.
We're
I
try-
really
we're-
don't have an opinion about it.
We're trying.
Okay, retired at 49.
We are already envious.
Yeah, laughing with you.
Yes.
This person is looking at a pair of used Klipsch RF35 speakers, and they sound great. They are 13 years old. How old is too old when it comes to buying used speakers? Actually, that's a pretty good question.
That's a great question. Honestly, if the drivers are intact, the rubber or foam surrounds are intact and not cracking, and if you know the speaker's been played fairly regularly, I say get them. If the price is right and they're in great shape, the finish is nice and everything's functioning, and when you remove the grills, all of the drivers are intact and there's no cracking or dryness in the rubber or foam surrounds, and the owner is someone that you can trust or you know, and they have said, oh, I listen to these probably once a week or 2 or 3 times a week and have for 15 years, then you know the speaker hasn't been sitting and hasn't been rotting, and in which case it's actually a better investment than someone that pulls a tarp off of something in a garage and says, ta-da. As a person that has bought many, many vintage Bang & Olufsen products over the years, speaker rot, foam rot, surround rot is a very real thing. So it can be very difficult to invest any sort of money, even if it's like $100, into some of these speakers. So if you can see them and everything's working, and you can demo them and you've played music through them and they tickle your fancy, who gives a shit how old they are? That's just, because sometimes, I mean, for me, like if I ever wanted to own Wilson Watt puppies again, I would have to buy used. And there are certain products out there that's the only way normal people like you and I are probably ever going to get our hands on them. In which case, yeah, we have to be very, very careful with how we shop. But at the same time, yeah, if they're in great shape, you like the sound of them, and the drivers all look to be intact, then I say go for it.
Maybe since we answered his question, he can let us know how he retired at 49.
Oh, yes.
Because
yes,
that sounds like a fun goal.
That would be awesome. I would love to be retired by 49.
So
leave another comment in the comments below, or tag onto your community comment and let us know how you retired at 49. And if you're joking, and if this is all just a cruel joke, shame on you, because you got our hopes up that we could be like you, because you're smarter than us.
Okay, our
This must be a good one.
I feel like I need to make this bigger so I can see it.
Can you read the question?
Yes.
All right.
I'm gonna just read the question.
We're just going to read the question. Sorry, whoever wrote this. Sorry, whoever wrote this with a screen name that's making her laugh.
Anyway, do you have a preferred? Is it DAW or DAW?
Oh.
What the heck is that? What is that?
I'm assuming DAW is like digital audio workflow, I think is what you're referring to. I'm going to grab my phone here and just double check that question. Digital audio workstation. Software used for recording, editing, and producing audio files. Yes, I do, and it is not going to sound sexy at all. I use Final Cut Pro, but most of the time I can do all of my audio mixing, including surround sound mixing, which some of you thought was real in the $5 fine videos. Aha! So yes, I do all of our audio mixing in Final Cut Pro 10 or X or whatever the damn number is. But you can do full surround sound mixing and all of that. And contrary to popular belief, all of the sound and music that you hear in all of our videos is royalty free. So in $5 fines, the music that you all thought was playing through the stereo inside the shop was not actually real. I put that in post to recreate what it was like in that shop before we started rolling cameras, but I was playing royalty-free music so that we didn't get flagged on YouTube. But that's what I used for all the audio. I use Final Cut.
That's a great question.
It is. It is.
Okay. Bruckner would like to know, what kind of genre of music do you find yourself most keen to listen to? Yeah.
Okay. I am a sucker for mid to late 90s pop alternative rock.
Teen pop.
Teen pop. Oh, okay. Yeah. I am. For some reason, I like all genres of music, but nothing will get me turning the volume up more and probably playing air guitar and singing along more than, call it 94 to 2001 pop, an alternative. You know, you give me some Wallflowers, like Better Than Ezra, Savage Garden, Backstreet Boys. You give me all that stuff, I eat it up. I eat it up. Not ashamed. Hashtag real me. I don't know. That's the truth right there.
Is that the T?
Is that the T? Can we say T?
Why not?
Well, we're not putting on makeup. I thought when you put on makeup,
that has nothing to do with it.
I didn't know. That's the first time.
The T is like
the T, the truth.
Real.
Okay, well that's the T. I like late 90s.
We may be done because you're out of battery.
I'm out of battery. Okay, I've got a backup here. I think we've answered a lot of them.
Let's do 2 more.
2 more. Okay, 2 more. I'm loading up the channel.
Okay.
Ooh, I want to watch that video. All right.
Which video was it?
It was a desk setup video. I'm working on a desk setup video so that you guys can all see where we edit. Alrighty.
Blair, I think it says Blair. I don't know. Why does your phone's weird?
Yeah.
Okay. Blair would like to know, what passive speakers would you recommend with awesome bass, or what passive subwoofer for a small room?
Ooh. That's my chair. Passive speaker for a small room that has bass. One of the best passive affordable bookshelf speakers that has terrific bass response that I have ever come across, and I think you're probably only going to be able to buy them used at this point. Sioux Research HB1 bookshelves, I think is what they are. Sioux Research bookshelf speakers have tremendous bass, and they're super affordable, and I love them to death. And I don't know if they're made anymore, but if they are, snatch them up. If they're not made anymore and you find them on eBay or AudioGone, they're probably a great value. Passive speaker with good bass. Anything Andrew Jones designs tends to be really good, whether it's his Pioneer stuff or the new ELAC stuff. That all tends to be really phenomenal, and has pretty solid bass extension. He does bass really well. What else have I had over the years that has shocked me? I will say this, for a small room, if you want a speaker that will sound positively huge but work in a small room with dynamics, efficiency, and everything, I gotta say one of the reigning kings is probably Tecton Designs M-Lore. I think they're $700. Not the prettiest speaker in the world, but damn if they don't get the job done. They can punch, and they can punch hard, and they can be driven by anything. I mean, you've got a 20-year-old receiver, you got a brand new receiver, you got a $100 receiver, or you've got $100,000 worth of separates. The M-Lore is legit. It's the real deal. Subwoofers, I mean, I don't know. Everyone kind of, in my opinion, makes a decent subwoofer. Right now, yeah, I don't know. I really like RBH subwoofers. I've always loved JL audio subwoofers. I know they're a bit expensive. Sioux Research makes great subs, and for the record, so does Tecton, believe it or not, but they're just a little bit on the big side. So, I mean, yeah, I don't really have a favorite in subwoofers at the moment.
Okay,
Last question.
What are you doing while listening to a record?
I'm listening to what am I doing while listening to a record? Well, I'm hopefully listening to the record. A lot of times if I'm not solely listening to the record, I'm answering your comments, believe it or not. Or Christy and I are talking about what we're going to do next. We are constantly looking at information and analytics and wondering what the best way of communicating topics are. So yeah, if I'm not just listening for the sake of listening, which is primarily what I'm doing, and because I don't have a record player in my office, so it's not like I can edit to records or anything like that. Oh, or I'm cooking. She is making us drinks and I am cooking. We listen to a lot of records, and I would say the bulk of everything that we buy immediately gets put on while we're making dinner. And it usually involves some form of chicken going into the air fryer. But yeah, that's really what we're doing. So good questions, everybody. I really enjoyed this, and hopefully it wasn't too boring. And if you like it, let me know in the comments below. Leave me more questions, and maybe we'll do these from time to time, or maybe we'll do them live. I feel like maybe they should be live. But anyway, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.